this video, we're going to talk about the difference between post only and allow taker. Now, if you're familiar with the GDAX playlist on the DEEPLIZARD channel, you know we've already been talking about this a lot. We have a ton of videos that talk about the actual execution of orders against the order book. And what we're going to talk about in this video is a new UI update that GDAX has just tweeted about, where they tell us that they've updated their UI so traders can more easily specify what they want their order type to be, either post only or allow taker. Now, we know if we look at the GDAX fee structure, they talk about makers and takers. Now, in the UI, they've chosen to use the word post only to mean only maker. So don't allow this order to execute as a taker, only allow it to post to the book, which means that the order would be filled as a maker once a taker comes in and actually fills that order. So with the new UI update, they used to have in the advanced section a post only checkbox. So if you had the checkbox checked, that would mean that your order would only be posted to the book as a maker. And if the order couldn't post to the book, then you would be rejected. The order would be rejected. So now they've done away with that checkbox and they've added this execution section where you can select post only or you can select allow taker. So let's jump over to GDAX and see this in action. So I'm in GDAX now. To see this particular new UI update, you have to have limit selected. If you select market, you're not going to get it because market orders always execute as takers. Now, we look at the stop section, we're also not going to see this. Now, even if we look in the advanced, we can still specify a limit price, which means a limit order will ultimately be submitted after the stop order is triggered, but we can't determine whether or not our order will be a maker or taker based on selecting the limit price. So therefore, they're not giving us that option. So if we want to see the new option, we have to click limit. Now, once we've selected limit, we can see that in this advanced section, we no longer have the post only checkbox. So what they've given us is a new execution section where they give us post only, and then they give us underneath, your order will only execute as a maker order. So this is what we just said. And then they give us a link, more details on what that means. Now, if we select allow taker, we'll see your order may execute as a maker or a taker. And this is what we've seen in our previous videos on makers and takers. So by default, we're going to have post only selected. Now, post only is good whenever we want to post our order to the top of the order book. And the reason we need this post only functionality is because the prices are moving very quickly. So we wouldn't know whether or not we were going to get charged a fee when this order was filled, because the price could move so rapidly. By the time our order is submitted, once we click the button, it could actually execute as a taker. Now, if we have post only selected, it's going to prevent that from happening. The order will be rejected if there is no place for the order on the book. Now, if we have allow taker selected, it will allow our order to take from the order book, which means it'll be filled immediately as a taker. We've seen both of these order executions in action in other videos on the DEEPLIZARD channel. We saw limit orders as makers and we saw limit orders as takers. Now, what I want to show you here is what this functionality actually does for us. So if we have post only selected, and let's just choose 0.01 ETH, and then we'll choose a limit price. Let me just increase this aggregation so it's not moving so quickly, but let's choose a limit price. Let's say that the maximum price we're willing to pay is 900 and we want to buy. So we're going to buy 0.01 ETH, and the maximum price that we're willing to pay for that 0.01 ETH is 900 USD per 1 ETH. So now we have post only selected, and what we're going to see is that when we click place buy order, this order is going to be rejected because our order would be a taker since there are sellers below our limit price of 900, and our order is allowed to execute all the way up to 900. So what the order matching engine is going to do is fill our order at the lowest asking price it would take an order from the order book to fill our order, because we are allowing this to happen with our $900 limit price. So in this case, since we have post only selected, our order will be rejected. So we click place order and we see post only cannot place order at 900 USD ETH. So in order to actually get this order to place, we need to be lower on the order book. Our price needs to be on the buy side. So let's just choose a price. We'll go with 800, and then let's place this order. And in that case, it was allowed to post to the book. So we can see our 0.01 Ether posted to the order book at the $800 limit price. So what we have said here is that 800 is the maximum price that we're willing to pay for Ether. So since there's no askers or sellers willing to sell at 800, we must wait until a seller arrives. At the time our order executes, the seller will be a taker. Our order must be taken off of the book in order for us to get a fill as a maker. Now on the flip side, let's just cancel this order. And this previous one that we had that was rejected, now if we want to refill this out again, let's say 0.01, and let's choose 900 again. And now if we want this order to actually go through, get back on the buy side. If we want this order to go through, we need to choose allow taker. And if we place buy this time, we'll actually get an execution. So before our order was rejected because the price was so high that we would have been able to be filled at a lower asking price than our maximum. So in this case, the order will go through and it will execute at the lowest asking price. So right now in this bucket, we see 880 is the lowest asking price. Now, if we get more granular, we can see that the real lowest asking price is right here at 875.01. So with allow taker selected, this order will execute at the lowest asking price immediately. It will take that order, that supply that's available there off of the book and fill our order. And in that case, we'll be a taker and we'll be charged a fee. Now you might be wondering, why would you ever want to allow taker? Why not just use a market order? And the reason is because we always want to use limits so we can define and have control over the execution of our order. If we don't specify a limit, then we are just hoping that the state of the order book will be in our favor at the time the order is submitted. So we want to place a limit just so we have identified our maximum price when we're buying. And on the flip side, when we're selling, we want to set our minimum because we don't want to sell for a super low price if the market conditions change very quickly. So we'll go ahead and place this order, and you'll see that this time it won't be rejected. It'll be filled immediately at the lowest asking price. So let's do it. So see there, we got success and we got filled a few seconds ago. So that is how you use the post only and the allow taker. Now, if that was a little confusing to you, make sure to go watch the other videos on the DeepLizard channel about limit orders as makers and limit orders as takers.